Well, hello, everybody. I hope you are having an absolutely fantastic Wednesday night. It is Wednesday, March 3rd, 2023, day before the 4th. May the 4th be with you for all my Star Trek fans. Star Trek fans. Oh, wow. Okay. Star Wars fans. I apologize. Apparently, I got Picard on the mind. But it's very great to have everybody here. Thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate it. Few quick housekeeping notes. Next week, Wednesday, I will not have a show. I am traveling. I got a family event actually that night. I'll be traveling a little bit next week too. And there will be no Q&A next week, Wednesday. So keep that in mind. No Q&A on Wednesday, everybody here. So with that said, let's dive into it real quick. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. If you're watching this on replay every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, I am live here on YouTube answering core cutting questions for 45 minutes, hour, something like that. So it's great to have everybody here. All right. So now that we got that out of the way, don't forget next week I won't be here, but the week after I will be. All right. With the WGA strike going on, the Writers Guild of America, all the people who write your favorite shows and movies, we won't feel the effects now, but it felt like in late yes, I do agree. If we do not see a deal struck in the next month or two, there's a very real possibility that we're going to see delays. We already saw CBS for a variety of reasons, primarily because of this strike, I personally believe, delay the announcement of their fall lineup. They were going to announce their fall lineup coming here, and they've now delayed it. Did I say March 3rd? Wow. Apparently, my migraine headaches is completely blowing my mind today. It's May 3rd. So, yeah. But so, Writers Guild of America could very well delay fall television. And if it delays fall television, could it help core cutting grow? Very possible. All right. CBS would probably play movies. That's the question is, Sinclair today had their earnings call. And during the earnings call, the CEO of Sinclair Broadcasting, who owns a lot of local television shows, was asked, well, what are you going to do if it does delay? What happens if we run out of scripted shows? He just said, we'll run a bunch of reality TV shows. He said reality TV shows, quote, do better anyways, or something paraphrased along those lines. So let me know, what do you think? Would you like to see a ton of reality television shows? Leave me a comment, let me know. All right, so question of the day for everybody that's here. Which streaming player is your favorite? Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, and more. That's my core cutting question of the day. Leave me a comment. If you're watching this on replay, leave me a comment too. I want to hear from you. Am I playing the new Zelda game? No, but mostly because my daughter has completely stolen my Nintendo Switch. I cannot get it from her. She's completely taken it over. But I'll probably play it sometime. The other side of it is, I'll be honest, I'm very busy right now. I just haven't had time for video games. Did YouTube TV abandon putting the clock on Roku? So YouTube TV started to roll out a clock for the guide, much like cable had a clock. And yeah, for whatever reason, it's kind of vanished from Roku. It's not been coming out. I hope it does. I think it's a cool feature. I hope they bring it out. That's very true. NYC, remember when the pandemic happened and everything stopped and suddenly there was classic sports games? I watched a lot. I won't lie. I watched a lot of classic sports. I may have been one of the few people in the world that enjoyed ESPN Classic, watching the old sporting games. Funny trivia, the last sporting event that ESPN Classic aired right before it shut off was an Ohio State-Michigan football game. See, Michigan, best team out there. Luke, I have a T-Mobile gateway. Which do you think is better, T-Mobile or Verizon home internet? I think they're both the same. It kind of depends on where you live. If T-Mobile has a better signal in your home, T-Mobile will be better. If Verizon does, Verizon does. It will be better. I don't think you're going to have a wrong answer here. I think both are great, to be honest with you, with that. Here's a great question. This is one I get a lot. Will I be able to keep Discovery Plus when HBO Max becomes just Max? So they have said that Discovery Plus will remain as it is. So if you don't want to pay the basically $16 for Max, which will include all the HBO Max content and all the Discovery Plus content put into one service. You can just continue to pay for Discovery Plus with that. So keep that in mind. But yes, you do not need to get HBO Max to watch Discovery Plus content. But if you do upgrade to Discovery Plus, from Discovery Plus to HBO Max, I'm sorry, I have a horrible migraine, and apparently it's just clouded my brain today. You'll get both HBO Max and Discovery Plus content. They did kind of hint, though, that some content that was originally going to be a Discovery Plus original may become a Max original and not be put on Discovery Plus. We'll see. Pluto TV needs the Weather Channel. Well, they don't have the Weather Channel, but they do have several other weather services. Weather Nation, Fox. I think the Fox Weather Channel's on there, and a few other weather ones. So what may not be the Weather Channel, it is there. The Weather Channel is now available to cord cutters as a standalone service for a few bucks a month. But my recommendation is to go get Friendly. For $7 a month, you get all the Hallmark channels, MeTV, tons of stuff, including the Weather Channel. So check that out. How's Bally Sports doing? Well, Sinclair kind of threw Bally Sports under the bus today and said that their revenues were down 40% in the same period this first quarter compared to the same period of 2022. They said if it wasn't for Bally Sports, basically, it would only be down 7%. So 33% of their lost revenues came from Bally Sports. Bally Sports also today sued the NBA Suns and the WNBA Mercury for what they consider breach of contract. The contract they had with those teams ended at the end of the season. Those teams went and signed a deal with Gray Television to offer their channels free over there and free streaming in the market. Sinclair says, well, our contract should have allowed us to at least have an opportunity to counter that contract. This is going to court. They're asking for an emergency injunction by a court to block this streaming deal for the NBA Suns. We'll see how it all plays out. All right, keep your questions coming. Will YouTube TV get Root Sports? I would be very shocked if any service right now picks up a regional sports network. Let's just be honest. Regional sports networks are not profitable right now. There's a reason AT&T Sportsnets are shutting down. There's a reason why Bally Sports is in bankruptcy. They want a lot of money. I wouldn't be surprised if they do add it, to be honest with you. I think it's more likely that these teams will go direct to consumer than it is that YouTube TV will pick up very expensive RSNs. Any chance to get a Core Cars news mug? Yeah, we are looking at ways to do this. I'll be honest with you. Right now, it's just kind of a time issue. But it's on my to-do list. It's on a very long to-do list right now with that. How will the writer's strike affect things? If it's short, if it's not long, it won't affect things much. You know, if they get it settled, let's say in the next month or two, minor, if any, issues. If come middle of June, they resolve this. If it stretches through June and it goes into July, especially August, it could seriously put a huge dent into fall television. And if that happens, it could seriously put a big dent into cable. I do think that this has a real possibility of rapidly speeding up cord cutting. If all these cable TV customers are looking at their subscriptions and are saying, hey, I'm paying for cable TV, there's nothing new on it, especially if I'm not a sports fan, I think this could really rapidly increase cord cutting at a rate we never even dreamed of. I know the WWE had their earnings call this morning. The CEO mentioned the exclusive negotiation window with media partners are almost over. I like it if they went to open market and to get a good deal. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. WWE, of course, is being purchased. I don't think that deal's done. I'm sure they want to drag this out to try to get the deal completely done. Is it done? I'm not really sure all the details on when it's closed, if the regulations and all that has happened. But I'm sure they would love to negotiate now using UFC and WWE as a combined package. But we'll see how that plays out. All right. Will YouTube TV get NHL Network? Possible. Could get Major League Baseball Network. Really, it's all a guessing game. But remember, the more content you add to a live TV service, the more it costs them, the more they're going to have to charge you. The more and more you add, the more and more there will be a cost to it. What's my favorite streaming service? There's really no wrong answer. This is kind of one of those things that's a personal opinion. I'm not a baseball fan, so YouTube TV not having Major League Baseball is not a big deal. I mean, I'll watch a game maybe on national. I may catch a little bit of the World Series, but I'm not there watching it all the time. But I'll tell you this, if they didn't have football, I would be out of there. So it's really personal opinion on this. I love Curiosity Stream. I love all the educational content there. Other people couldn't care. I've really been watching a lot on Paramount Plus. I picked it up for Picard, and I've been binge watching a ton of Paramount Plus stuff, Picard stuff. There's no wrong answer here. Don't be caught. What's the best? What's the best for you? Go that way. The WWE sale will close in the second half of 2023. That's what I thought with this. So I would imagine that they're trying to delay the TV deal, maybe if they could, until that deal is closed, and then they could do something as a bigger company. All right, so question. Last week, we asked you what your favorite milkshake was from a national chain. Here's my question. What's your favorite cheeseburger from a national chain? And I will have to say mine from a national chain is going to have to be Whataburger from with their sweet and spicy burger. Oh my gosh. If it's probably a good thing I moved out of Texas and I went to Michigan where they're not here yet. I hope they do. But if they were here, I'd probably eat way too much food at Whataburger. I went to Whataburger all the time. So what is the best cheeseburger from a national chain? Now, my favorite fast food joint is a regional one here, Mr. Burger. Amazing milkshakes. But leave me a comment. Let me know, what is the best national chain for cheeseburgers? All right. And if I haven't answered one of your questions, re-ask it. Often as we talk here, questions fly by, re-ask your questions, and I'll do my best to answer them here. Again, for everybody coming in a little late, thanks for joining us. It's really great to have you here. There will be no Q&A next week, Wednesday. We are out. I am going to be at a family event with my wife and kids next Wednesday. No Q&A. We'll be back 2 weeks from today for another Q&A. I do apologize. Hopefully someday in the future, we'll have another person who can help fill in when I'm not here. But for today, no Q&A. Here is a controversial statement that I actually kind of agree with. I actually really like a Whopper with cheese, but I hate Burger King fries. Burger King, I think, has better burgers than McDonald's, but the fries are so awful. Just so awful. Oh, sorry. All right. Get those questions in, and we'll do our best to answer them. All right. Do you think there will be a tipping point for regional sports networks? Yes, and I think it's very, very close. We already know that, according to reports, at the end of the Major League Baseball season, AT&T Sportsnet will shut down, according to reports. There is a very real possibility here that Bally Sports could lose a significant amount of teams through this bankruptcy process, teams not wanting to renew with them, all kinds of stuff. What if situation here? I think Bally Sports' bankruptcy is key here. If they're able to somehow keep this together, come out of the other side with the vast majority of everything they have, regional sports networks may continue, and sports networks may continue. If they fail to do that, and even if they come out, but they lost a good chunk of it, there's a very real possibility here that a lot of sports will go more direct to consumers, a la NBA Suns deal and the WNBA Mercury deal, to go back to broadcast television and offer free in-market streaming. We'll see. When will DirecTV get the NFL Network? DirecTV Stream. Your guess is as good as mine. Nothing's been announced. Again, though, more content, more price. Luke, do you think that eventually cable companies will move fully online? I do think so. We're already seeing DirecTV do this a little bit, right? DirecTV now has DirecTV satellite and DirecTV via the internet, and then they have DirecTV Stream. And they're really pushing DirecTV via internet is the same cost, same details as DirecTV via the internet and satellite, same. But you get a little less channels with the internet version, but it costs them less money to run a streaming service than it does to send new satellites up into space. And we're already seeing cable networks, smaller ones like start to replace their TV service with like YouTube TV, for example. I suspect that more and more cable companies will do that, starting with the smaller ones. But we're seeing some top 10 size ones do that right now. And there's a very real possibility that that could grow, and we could see, even in the future, 5-10 years from now, Comcast say, hey, we're going to take our cable channels off the cable copper line, free up all that bandwidth for internet, and now just offer a streaming service instead. Very, very possible. Does that going to happen this year? Probably not. Could it happen faster than we think? Probably. Is there a streaming service you think will fail in the next 2 or 3 years? I don't have anyone particular that I would say, oh, this one's going to fail. But I will say that there is a very real possibility that many of the services we have today won't make it. And I'm looking at free services, live TV services, and on-demand services. There are so many services that we will be unable to deal with the fact that there are all these services, and some of them will either have to merge, maybe like Discovery Plus and HBO Max, or how Showtime's merging into Paramount Plus, or they'll just go away. Which ones are those? Your guess is as good as mine. All right. If EW Scripps working to get on RSN or a sports network. So yeah, Scripps is not, I wouldn't say they want to be an RSN. They want to have these channels come to broadcast television like Gray Television did with the Suns. They do want to get sports. Sports is very profitable. Don't get me wrong, folks. We're making fun of regional sports networks. There's a lot of things that went into that. And a lot of that goes down to old deals that were struck when they thought the gravy train of cable TV would never go away. But sports as a whole is very healthy. That's why we're seeing things like national pickleball tournaments on CBS and slam ball coming back. And these things out there that would have never been on CBS's news are there. When I turn on CBS on weekends, it seems like 90% of the time it's some weird random sporting event I've never heard of. Live events are very profitable because live events drive live viewership. Live viewership means people aren't fast forwarding through commercials using a DVR. So because of that, cable networks want more live events. And that's why we're seeing more and more sports. So that, I anticipate to see sports continue to be very popular. If you don't know what slam ball is, go on YouTube, type in slam ball. It's like basketball with trampolines. It's coming back this year. Again, with that. And pickleball. If you haven't seen pickleball, it's basically a smaller version of tennis. So lots out there. Anyway, so you're right. QB, which I always thought was dumb. The problem QB had was sub 10-minute content, people have come to the expectation that should be free. They're not paying for YouTube content. It's just the reality. So this idea that people were going to pay to watch short form content never worked. And also, I think this is a little bit of a victim of the people who made this service they're used to living in a big city. They're used to public transportation. Let's be honest, the vast majority of people don't live in an area with public transportation. They're not sitting on a subway or a bus watching content. They're not flying all over the country all the time watching short form content. So I just think that the whole idea of Quibi was very short-sighted, in my personal opinion. Yes, Netflix will be imposing password sharing crackdowns, basically saying, hey, if you want other people to use your account, they got to pay a little extra. Exact date and rollout hasn't been announced, but this quarter, so the next few months. Do I think Netflix will survive in the long run? Yeah, they're actually quite profitable right now. Netflix is doing just fine. Netflix is making money in ways that Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, and others are not, to be honest with you. So for all you could say about Netflix's shortcomings, they're doing pretty well. Don't underestimate the Netflix. Captain Fandom Nerd, thank you so much for joining the Core Carters Club. That $5 a month is a huge help, is a huge support. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. Are there streaming services that just show whole concerts? Yes, there is. Somebody help me real quick. There is several streaming services that do nothing but show concerts. There's one really big one. And for the life of me at this moment, I cannot remember what that is. Leave a comment. Let me know what that name of that service is that shows concerts. Does it start with a Q? Quello or something? I don't know. Leave me a comment. Let me know. Is EW Scripts working on RSN sport? They are not working on an RSN. They do want to do more sports. They have a sports division now for their locally owned television shows to get more sports there. But no, I don't believe they're going into that. All right. Access apparently though, Quello, that was the one I was thinking of. Quello is a streaming service that offers concerts and really good concerts. Also, YouTube has a lot, for example, Coachella or whatever it was called. A lot of concerts, a lot of music festivals are now on YouTube also. But the quality there can hit or miss there. So check that out. Those are a couple of the big ones to check out with it. Do I think Paramount will acquire AMC? Could. But honestly, I don't know. Remember, AMC is pretty big. They own the History Channel. They own quite a bit of stuff. That's a pretty big one there. That's okay. I seem to have all kinds of brain freezes today. It's been a long, long day, and I have more work to do. Based on our article about ESPN streaming, do you think Disney will keep ESPN? Do I think Disney will keep ESPN? Oh, yeah. Disney's not getting rid of ESPN. ESPN is, in the long run, one of the safest bets in the world of cable TV right now. Now, Disney has said they do intend to make ESPN at some point in the future direct-to-consumer, offer as a standalone streaming service without the need for a YouTube TV, without the need for a cable TV network. Now, they say, question's not if. Both the head of ESPN and the head of Disney, CEO of Disney, have said it's not a question of if they will pull the rug out and go direct to consumers. It's a question of when they will do that. Now, the win is probably not this year. The win is probably a few years away, a year away. I don't know. Like I said, this Writer Guild of America strike could actually speed up cord cutting and go from there. We'll see. Favorite hobby, tech or cord cutting? I love both, honestly. I love technology, which is probably why I enjoy doing Cord Cutters News. All right. Angie says, help me, please. I'm very technically challenged. If I start going with the live TV streaming apps and stuff to get local channels and movies, do I also have to pay for Comcast cable? No, you do not. So if you get, for example, Hulu Live TV, YouTube TV, Fubo, etc., you do not have to pay for Comcast cable television. You do have to have some type of internet. There's a lot of growing number of internet options. But the great thing about these services is they do for the most part include a free trial. I would encourage you to take advantage of the free trials before you cancel your Comcast cable television to decide if it's right for you. So give that a try. And head over to cordcuttersnews.com. Check out the big top. We have a beginner's guide up there at the very top. Check that out. That should help you get started with this all. Luke, do I prefer ESPN Plus or DAZN, however you say it? I always not sure how to say that name. Honestly, I think both are great. Again, it comes down to which one has the content you want. They both offer different content. Which sporting events, which ones do you want? There's no wrong answer here. I'm a PGA golf fan, so of course I have ESPN Plus. But I get it through my Verizon bundle. I get the Disney bundle for free through that. You're right. A lot of people in NYC are very bullish right now about direct consumer. The future is direct to consumer. It's just a question of how long we're getting there and how exactly will we make that work. Will college football conferences someday have their, they have TV deals, but will they just someday have their own streaming service? And all the Big Ten channel games are on the Big Ten. All the SEC ones are on the SEC network. I don't know. I don't know how far it's just direct to consumer this ends up going. All right. So if I didn't answer any questions, re-ask, and I'll do my best to answer them here. We got about another 20-some minutes here for core questions. Do I think Google is charging too much for info study ticket? Not really. I think they're one big downside, and I hope they bring this out. I think Google would get a lot more subscribers if Google, through YouTube or YouTube TV, offered a monthly package option. Because a monthly package option would make that seem a lot more affordable for people rather than them having to hand over a few $100s right up front. So I really think that if I was Google, and they may do this after the pre-sale. Right now, you get a discount if you buy now, and maybe after that, they'll bring a monthly plan out. But if I was Google, I would offer a month-to-month package. I think that will make it a lot more swallowable for people. You know, that's a big pill to pay all that money up front. All right. All right, keep your questions coming. It's kind of warm here today. I got the sun beating, but I don't want to turn the air conditioning because it's not that warm outside yet. Do I believe that streaming services will offer a la carte television? Well, the problem with that being, very honest, if you go a la carte, a vast majority of cable TV networks will not survive. So by the time we get to a la carte, we're probably at a point where the sports and news channels have gone direct to consumer. And at that point, things like Cartoon Network are probably going to go away. You may laugh at this, but Disney Channel already has shut down in parts of Australia, or they've shut down Australia, New Zealand. They've shut down in parts of Europe. Increasingly, a lot of these channels are going away. It would not surprise me at all that if Disney did pull ESPN off cable and go direct to consumer, that they said, hey, the Disney Channel is gone. If you want Disney content, go over to Disney Plus, for example. If you want all that other stuff, go over to Hulu or whatever they end up doing with all this. Very realistic possibility. But honestly, like I said, if we go a la carte, the vast majority of cable networks would not survive. Even CNN right now would not survive, I believe. All right, I have a question. Will I get Max on Hulu because I pay for HBO? You should. So from my understanding, if you pay for HBO Max through Hulu or these other places, it will convert to HBO Max or from HBO Max to just Max at the same price. So keep that in mind. Billy, thank you so much for that $1.99 super chat. I really appreciate it. And the team here is huge and growing. I really do appreciate everybody. What they do for us is huge. Thank you for taking notice of their hard work with all that. Luke, have you seen the 12.0 update running slower on all Roku TVs? Honestly, I have it on my Roku TVs. I have not noticed a difference with it, but I'm not running the soundbar with that. I have a soundbar, but I have a original soundbar. I don't think I have the Pro one, but I have not actually tested the first one. So I'll have to take a look at that. All right, Any streaming service that offer discounts for low income? That's a great question. The Amazon Prime does offer for several different categories, cheap discounted ones. That's the only one I really know of at this moment, to be honest with you. What streaming services do you recommend that has news but no sports? That's a tough one. There's really not any big ones, to be honest with you. If you're not going to get Fox News, CNN, MSNBC without getting a service that also has news at this time. But honestly, increasingly, there's a growing amount of free news services. You may want to consider checking out what like Pluto TV, the Roku channel, all these services have. They have a surprisingly large amount of news that's really good for free. So that's my recommendation. But if you're looking for the big cable networks at this time, they are not there. And their efforts to go direct to consumer on that didn't work out so well. For example, CNN. Fox Nation, for example, has moved away from news and does more stuff like airing cops, for example, and more. Yeah, just keep that in mind. So again, though, CBS News has a live national feed. NBC has a live national feed. It's not MSNBC, but it is a ton of free news. You may want to check out on a variety of different services. Pluto, the Roku channel, Tubi, Freevee, all these services have a ton there. with that. All right. G-Money says, I was glad to hear Amazon is adding older Prime content to Freevee. Yes, if you missed the news, Amazon announced they will be adding 100 plus movies and television shows from their older library of Amazon Prime originals to its free streaming service, much like how Paramount Plus uses Pluto TV to drive subscriptions to Paramount Plus by putting older seasons of Paramount Plus originals, especially right before the new season comes out, to try and entice people to go subscribe to Paramount Plus. I think that's what Amazon's going to be doing here. So keep that in mind. Oh, so Richard says the first soundbar is the Pro one. Okay, so I do have that. I just haven't plugged it in a very long time. It's been in my basement since we moved here. And so it's probably been 2 or 3 years since it's been 3 or 4 years since I've done that. Why are broadcast fees so expensive? Well, broadcast television stations really are racking up the cost. They are some of the most expensive television stations now. Not the most expensive, but they are expensive. And that's why cable networks are tacking on these fees to try to recover costs. All right, let's see here. I just got a free trial of MGM Plus. They have great movie content and some great originals. Yeah, so that's now owned by Amazon. Amazon bought MGM. They rebranded, was it Epix, wherever it was, to MGM Plus. And they are reportedly pushing a lot of content. I'm very excited about the reports that a new Stargate TV show and movie are in the works. I really hope that works out. I'm also excited to hear that a new Babylon 5 anime movie's coming. Hopefully the reboot still happens. I love Babylon 5 in the 90s. I would love to see it. Am I at the new office? No, I'm actually at home today. I'll be honest, it's been a long day. So rather than being in the office and then having to drive home after I do it, I'm just working from home. This is my home office here. But I do work out of the regular office often. Is Sling cheap? Sling is cheap TV streaming? Yeah. Okay, I think I understand the question. Sling TV is one of the cheaper options if you do want like major news channels, ESPN, and more. They do start at 40 to 45, depending where you live. And they do include things like Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, ESPN, FS1, etc., depending on which package you pick. Any chance that Friendly gets Rewind TV and Antenna TV? They could, but again, the more they add, the more they're going to have to charge you. It's always a balance game. Check out to see if they're available in your area with an antenna. That's always my recommendation. I have a TV with an antenna. Is there a way to mirror the feed without an indoor antenna? So if you have an antenna on your attic forever, you may want to look at something like a HD Home Run or a Tableau DVR. That will allow you to take your antenna and stream it to other TVs. That's what I do in my home. I have an antenna in the attic, runs down, connects to the Tableau DVR. Then I can watch it in my home, out of my home, everywhere using my Tableau DVR app through my phone, through my Roku, through Fire TVs, Apple TVs, etc. That is right, NYC. The Sling, I almost forgot. Maybe this is what they were asking. Now also has, without needing to pay for them, a ton of free content, very much under the like of Pluto TV, the Roku channel, Freevee, etc. Like 300 channels now for free with that. Tons of content. Does it benefit me to download individual apps? Well, if you have like a YouTube TV, you can watch it all in the YouTube TV app. Doesn't necessarily mean you need to do it there, but you can, for example, use the YouTube TV to sign it to the ESPN app and other places too, for example. Will Max be getting all Discovery Plus? So when later this month that HBO Max becomes just Max, it will include the content currently available on Discovery Plus. Now, if you don't care about the HBO stuff, you can still just subscribe to Discovery Plus for a cheaper price. But HBO Max will be adding Discovery Plus content later this month when it becomes Max. All right, if I didn't answer your question, re-ask it. And about 15 more minutes or so, we're going to wrap this up because I have a early morning tomorrow appointment. And honestly, I've been working since like 6:45 today. It's been a long day. What game show would I like to have as its own channel on Pluto TV? So Press Your Luck, the original, is one of my favorites. They have the Bob Barker Price is Right. I mean, what more do you want? Come on, it's Bob Barker, Price is Right. But if I had to pick beyond that, Press Your Luck, and I think it used to have a channel, or maybe I just remember seeing it all the time on one of the other game show network ones. But that would be, if I had to pick one that's not there now, that would be it. So question, Price is Right with Drew Carey. I haven't really watched a lot of it. Is it good? Let me let you know. How do Pluto TV and others make money if it's free? Because it's ad supported. They just take older content, some originals, but mostly older content, put ads around it, and make money. Stuff like, for example, Bob Barker's original Price is Right content, stuff that was just sitting on the shelf somewhere. Well, they licensed it, put it on, and made some money off of it. Otherwise, let's be honest, no one would watch it. Is Warner Bros. Discovery getting their own fast service? Yes, and reportedly it'll be called WB TV. No launch date, may not even be this year when it launches, but yes, Warner Brothers Discovery is in the process of making their own free ad-supported streaming service. Will include the entire catalog. Okay, I was wondering if Max would be included. Will include the entire Discovery Plus catalog. From my understanding, yes, everything on Discovery Plus will be coming to Max when HBO Max is renamed. So from my understanding, yes. Will YouTube release the number of subscribers to NFL Sunday Ticket? They could. I don't think they have to. Google has not been releasing the numbers of Sling TV or of YouTube TV subscribers. So I don't know why they would be forced to release that for NFL Sunday Ticket. It may be the NFL wants them to, but I don't believe that they're forced to do it. I do too. I would love to see Batman the animated series on WB TV. I think The Price is Right under Drew Carey is all right, although I generally don't get the time to watch game shows nowadays unless it's a primetime special. I'm kind of with you. Those primetime Bob Barker specials right before the end when he was on his way out, he was doing a final series of primetime specials. Those were something. Those were some big rewards, a lot of fun. I remember watching those. There is a reboot of Press Your Luck. That's a pretty good one. I enjoyed it, but I still say something about the original just special with it. All right. Let's Make a Deal with Wayne Brady. I have seen a little bit of that. That's pretty fun. We've enjoyed that. All right, get your questions in about 10 minutes with that. Predict what television will look like in 20 years. I don't think we really will know what it will look like in 20 years. Think back 20 years. If you think back 2003, Netflix wasn't streaming. Netflix was around, but it was still kind of small, very aggressive trying to get its name out there. Blockbuster was in its heyday. What will TV look like 20 years from now? I don't know. I will say in 5 to 10 years, I think cable television will be dramatically different from what it is now. I don't think we even begin to understand how much different cable television is to right now, with how it is right now versus what it's going to be in a few years. I just think it's so different coming up. And I think it is going to be a lot more direct to consumer. But what does it look like? Is it ESPN going direct to consumer, or is the NBA having their own streaming service and you pay the NBA directly to watch the NBA and the NFL? And then college football conferences have their own service. Could we realistically see Fox Sports, CBS Sports, and ESPN be cut out? Maybe. Wouldn't surprise me. Anything's possible. Do I have any good movie recommendations? Honestly, it's been a while since I've seen a movie, but the new Mario movie was pretty good. But yeah, anybody good here, not in theaters, good movie recommendations from a streaming service, and leave them in the comments. Go, everybody. What's going to happen to Bally Sports RSNs? Right now, nothing. They desperately want to go through bankruptcy, restructure their debts, and come out of it. Question is, will they be able to pull that off with most of their content? I'm not so sure they'll be able to do it. We'll see what happens with it all. What do I think of the Phoenix Suns bypassing regional sports networks and putting their stuff back in broadcast television? I love it. And they're going to stream it for free in market. I love it. I think more and more services will do it. we'll see what's going to happen in the long run with it. But for now, I think this is great. What's going to happen to the HBO brand name once Max becomes a streaming service? So one of the things they said during the announcement was the reason they're going to just call it Max instead of HBO Max is they thought that having HBO Max with non-HBO content diluted the brand of HBO. And I kind of fully understand what they think. That having all this non-HBO content on a service called HBO Max dilutes the brand. So HBO Max is not going away anytime soon. Or HBO is not going away. They're very clear that HBO is an important brand to them, and they want to get it back to what it was. That HBO is just HBO, and HBO content will be on Max, but branded under HBO. I actually kind of agree with them. Warner Bros. Discovery, not a bad idea here to say, hey, when everything is an HBO Max show, it maybe downplays the true HBO originals and maybe lowers people's expectations because HBO has always had this very high standard for very high quality content. And I can understand what they're saying there. All right. So somebody had a question about 4K. What do you think and when? I think more and more content will be 4K. 8K is a little tougher. It's kind of one of those things. When 4K came, a lot of people were like, hey, it looks okay. HDR, I think, helped push 4K. 8K, again, I think a lot of people, the average person looks at it and just says, oh, okay, I got 4K, 8K, yeah. When we went from SD to HD, it was such a profound difference that people ran out. I remember a college professor taking some college classes, and he talked about going to a hotel, sitting in a suite, and looking at this HD television and saying, this is amazing. He said, I went home, I went to Best Buy, and I bought an HD television. Spent like $1,000 on it. People aren't having that same reaction going from 4K to 8K. People aren't looking at it and saying, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I need to go and get it right now. And because of that, I don't think 8K is selling the way they thought it would. It really wasn't until HDR came out and that 4K HDR became a thing, because HDR is a much more, I believe, noticeable difference in quality. That more and more people see that, more and more people were willing to run out and spend money for HDR. Is there something like that for 8K? I don't know. Personally, I just think more people aren't seeing it, and that's probably leading them to be unwilling to do it. We'll see what happens. Richard, you are right. So ATSC 3.0, the next generation television, the new standard that's rolling out for over-the-air television, will allow a lot more sub-channels. One of the big selling points here is it can offer more channels, allowing people to have more content through their antenna. I suspect that once the rollout's fully done, we'll see more of those channels come out in the future. All right. I don't know if The Last of Us saved HBO. I think Game of Thrones saved HBO, to be honest with you. I think HBO was doing just fine before The Last of Us, but the Game of Thrones and the prequels, I think that probably is what's going to saved it, I think, much more so than The Last of Us, to be honest. All right. If I didn't answer your question, re-ask it. I'm not going to be here too much longer. A lot of people have come in. Next week, Wednesday, I will not be here. I have a family thing I'm going to be doing next week, Wednesday. I'll be back in 2 weeks for another Q&A. So keep that in mind. What's my favorite rom-com? Honestly, I'm not really a rom-com guy. I usually pass out in bed as my wife watches one or something. So kind of wrong person to ask. Now, if you want to learn about some sporting events, yeah. All right. Get those questions in. Does Tableau have a ATSC 3.0 tuner? Now, they had one in development, but because of DVR and some other stuff, they announced they were putting that on hold. They still have it in development, but they intend to have Tableau ATSC 3.0 come out in the future. No release date yet at this time. Best sporting moment on TV and live. Best sporting moment live. I was at Michigan Stadium 2 years ago when Michigan beat Ohio State after a long break of it. I've been going to Michigan games since I was a kid. My family's had tickets to Michigan since before I was born. That was pretty epic being there. Pretty epic. I won't lie. Honestly, best TV moment, probably watching Michael Jordan come back and do another three-peat in basketball. It's like, hey, run 3 championships, took a break, came back, and said, I'm going to do this again. That probably really always stand out to me. For me, as my personal, what I remember growing up in school, coming home, watching basketball after school, and WG in America, when you watch the Chicago Bulls, basic cable television, huge Bulls fan. Of course, I live closer to Chicago than I do to Detroit, so I was a Bulls fan. It was just closer to me. All right, what are your thoughts on Stars? I mean, if it's got what you want, they got a lot of originals my wife likes. We have to get it. Isn't that what Outlander is on? It's on Stars, right? Outlander? My wife loves that show, so she's got to get it on Stars. Yes, Tableau 3.0 DVR is coming. We just don't have a release date for it. Hopefully soon. All right. Get your questions in a few more minutes. I'm going to wrap this up. I have an early morning tomorrow. A lot happening. Paramount, I believe, reports earnings. Fubo reports earnings later this week. It's earnings season. I hate earnings season because I got to get up early for the early press releases. But that's life. Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. I'll be honest. I have not watched much playoffs. I've been so busy. We'll see what happens with it. Anybody here have a prediction? Get your comments in. I'd love to hear from you. All right. CNBC versus Bloomberg. Probably CNBC for me. I don't know. I don't watch as much Bloomberg, but I think both are great. All right. Let's wrap this up, folks. Gary, thank you so much for being here. Thank you to everybody for being here. NBA is on tonight. NHL is on tonight. Major League Baseball is happening. It won't be long. We'll be talking about college football and NFL football coming. It's kind of hard to believe. May is in full swing, and before you know it, it's going to be beautiful. I can't wait. I'm very excited for summer to be here. But I hope everybody has a great day. I'm going to take one more question. It says, Tableau charged me a $150 membership. Tableau does have a subscription to the guide data. If you pay for the guide data, you get the ability to just go out farther. If you don't pay, you only get 24 hours. Contact Tableau customer service. They are very helpful. So with that said, though, I'm going to wrap this up. Check out the other videos, folks. We have some great videos. I have another video coming up tomorrow. I've got some videos, some reviews and different things coming up this week and next week over here. So make sure to check out every day right here for new videos. Make sure to head over to corecardsnews.com. Thank you to all the super chats. Thank you to all the new members of the Core Carding Club. I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Take care. Be safe. It's great to have everybody here. I'll talk to you all real soon.